Physics question answer discussion for 2023 annual examination. What is the nature of strong nuclear force? The nature of strong nuclear force is attractive and short range. The relation between transistor parameters alpha and beta. We know alpha is the transistor parameter for that is the current gain when in common base configuration, and beta is the transistor parameter for the current gain in common emitter configuration, and the relation between them is beta equal to alpha divided by 1 minus alpha. The dimension of electric permittivity is, you can find out the dimension of electric permittivity from Coulomb's law, F equal to 1 by 4 pi epsilon 0 charge square divided by distance square. So epsilon will be equal to charge square into force to the power minus 1, distance to the power minus 2, and for charge it is current into time, so ampere into time. Then for force it is m1 l1 t to the power minus 2, and for distance it is l. So the dimension for the electric permittivity will be equal to m to the power minus 1, l to the power minus 3, t to the power 4, and a to the power 2. Biot-Savart law gives magnetic field produced by electric current. The phenomenon of light responsible for formation of mirage is the total internal reflection. Due to the total internal reflection, the phenomenon of light which is responsible for the formation of the mirage. The SI unit of magnetic flux is the Weber. And what is the ground state energy of electron in hydrogen atom? The ground state energy of electron in hydrogen atom is minus 13.6 electron volt. Question number 2. Which logic gate is known as universal gate? NAND gate and NOR gate. They are called universal gate. Why NAND gate and NOR gate is called universal gate? Because we can construct OR gate, AND gate and NOR gate from NAND gate and also from NOR gate. That is why NAND gate and NOR gate are called universal gate. In Young's double slit experiment, what happens to the fringe width if the distance between the slits is increased? The fringe width is given by the formula beta equal to lambda d by d. So here small d is called the distance between the slits. So if the distance between the slits is increased, then fringe width will decrease. What is the relation between Weber and Tesla? We know Weber is the unit of magnetic flux. In SI, the unit of magnetic flux is Weber, and the unit of flux density is Weber per meter square. And Weber per meter square is called Tesla. That is why 1 Weber will be equal to 1 Tesla into meter square. Can a photoelectric effect be explained by wave theory of light? No, you cannot explain photoelectric effect by wave theory of light. What is the expression for the capacitor of a parallel plate capacitor with air as the dielectric? The formula for the expression for the capacitor of a parallel plate capacitor in the presence of with air as dielectric is C equal to epsilon 0 A divided by D. A is the area of each plate and D is the distance of separation, and epsilon 0 is the permittivity of free space. The Lyman series of hydrogen spectra lies in the visible region. Correct the sentence if necessary. We know the Lyman series of hydrogen spectra lies in ultraviolet region, and the Balmer series lies in the visible region. Write the mathematical form of Bohr's postulate regarding angular momentum of electron in atom. The angular momentum of electron L equal to n into h divided by 2 pi, that is integral multiple of h by 2 pi, where n is 0, 1, 2, that is the integers. Group B, question number 3. Distinguish between paramagnetic and diamagnetic substances. Write 2 points of difference. We know paramagnetic and diamagnetic substances, they are classified depending upon the susceptibility J, and the permeability. We have three permeability. One is called your relative permeability mu r, another one is your permeability mu, and mu 0 is called the permeability of free space. For diamagnetic substance, the susceptibility, value of susceptibility lies between -1 to 0, that is the susceptibility is negative, and for paramagnetic substance the susceptibility is positive and the value is small. In both the case the value of susceptibility is small, and the relative permeability of diamagnetic substance is lies between 0 and 1, and the relative permeability of paramagnetic substance is lies between 1 and 1 plus epsilon, that is the value is very small. In both the case the value of relative permeability is very small, and the permeability of diamagnetic substance is less than the permeability of the in empty space, and for paramagnetic substance the permeability is greater than the permeability of empty space or free space. State the laws of electromagnetic induction, that is the Faraday law of electromagnetic induction. A time varying magnetic field produces an EMF. This is the first law. If you vary the magnetic field, then that will produce a magnetic field with respect to time, that is d phi by dt. If you vary the magnetic field, then what will happen? An EMF will be produced, and what will be the magnitude of the EMF? Magnitude of EMF will be equal to minus d phi by dt, or rate of change of magnetic flux. Explain why two lines of force in an electric field cannot intersect each other. Two lines of force cannot intersect each other because if you have two lines of force like this, suppose this is one line of force, another line of force, this is another line of force, then you from this at the point of intersection you will get two directions of electric field. This is one direction of electric field and this is another direction of electric field, but from one point you cannot have two directions of electric field. That is why two lines of force in an electric field cannot intersect each other. State and explain Ohm's law. In Ohm's law, we have the current proportional to the voltage, or voltage equal to current times the resistance, and the temperature must be constant. And you have to plot a graph between voltage and current, and the nature of the graph should be straight line. For ohmic conductors, the nature of the graph should be straight line. Find the resultant capacitance of the following combination of capacitors. These two capacitors, 2 microfarad and 2 microfarad, they are connected in parallel. So the effective capacitance of these two capacitors will be equal to 4 microfarad, and this 4 microfarad capacitor is connected to this 1 microfarad capacitor in series. So the effective capacitance will be equal to 1 by C equal to 1 by 4 plus 1. So C will be equal to 4 by 5 microfarad. The angle of a prism is given 60 degree, that is A is given 60 degree. If the minimum angle of deviation of a ray through it is 30 degree, that is dm is 30 degree given, find the refractive index of the material of the prism. So refractive index mu equal to sin A plus dm by 2 divided by sin A by 2. So substituting the value of A, dm, we can get mu is equal to root 2. Define work function and stopping potential for photoelectric effect. Work function means the minimum energy required by an electron to escape from metal surface. It is called the work function. It is generally denoted by phi naught and its unit is electron volt. And what is stopping potential? If you plot a graph taking collector plate potential along x-axis, positive direction of x-axis, and retarding potential along the negative direction of x-axis, and the plate current along the y-axis, then what will happen? With increase in the retarding potential, the photo current becomes zero. You see, at a constant frequency, if you increase the retarding potential along this axis, that is the negative x-axis, then what will happen? The potential, the that is the retarding potential. When you increase the retarding potential, that is by changing the commutator, then the photocurrent, you see the photocurrent tends to 0. So the minimum retarding potential for which the photocurrent is 0 is called your stopping potential. Write down the laws of radioactivity. The rate of radioactive decay is proportional to the number of nuclei, that is dn by dt proportional to n, or dn by dt is equal to minus lambda into n. Here n is the number of nuclei present at time t and n0 is the number of nuclei present at the beginning. So if you derive this equation, then it will be equal to n equal to n0 e to the power minus lambda into t. What is a junction diode? Draw the circuit diagram for it in forward bias condition. A PN junction is called a junction diode, and which allows current to flow when it is forward bias and no current flows through the junction when it is reverse bias. And the circuit diagram for the PN junction in the forward direction will be like this. When P is connected to the positive terminal and N is connected to the negative terminal, the PN junction is in forward bias condition. And write down 4 properties of nuclear force. Nuclear force is a strong force and it is a short range force. Nuclear force is electric charge independent, and nuclear charge is repulsive when the separation between the nuclei is less than 1 Fermi, and nuclear force is attractive when the separation between the nucleons is greater than 1 Fermi. Then question number 4. Why is the sky usually blue but it appears red at sunrise and sunset? Sky appears blue because of the scattering of the light, because scattering occurs more in blue color than other colors. But during sunrise and sunset, what happens? Sunlight travels a longer path. So red light reaches our eye, but blue light mostly remote. Derive an expression for the electrical conductivity of a metal in terms of the drift velocity of the electron. So the relation is the electrical conductivity sigma is equal to NeVd divided by E. N is the number of electrons per unit volume, E is the charge of the electron, Vd is the drift velocity, and E is the electric field. You can derive it like this. From Ohm's law, we know J equal to sigma E, that is the current density, is equal to conductivity into electric field, but the current density J is equal to current by area, and we know current is equal to charge divided by time. And how you can find out the charge? Charge will be equal to Ne, that is the number of electrons per unit volume into the charge of one electron, that is Ne, and if you multiply it with Vdt, that is the velocity with the time, this will give you the length multiplied by area, this will give you the volume. And I have told you N is the number of electrons per unit volume. That is why you have to multiply this volume factor, and J will be equal to, if you simplify it, J will be equal to Ne into Vd. So if from equation 1 and 2, you will get sigma E is equal to Ne Vd. So sigma will be equal to Ne Vd divided by E. So this is the relation between current density, electrical conductivity and drift velocity. Find the wavelength of radiation emitted by hydrogen atom when the electron jumps from n is equal to 3 to n is equal to 2. The required relation is 1 by lambda is equal to RH, 1 by 2 square minus 1 by 3 square. RH is the Rydberg constant, lambda is the wavelength. So if you simplify it, lambda 3, 2, that means when the electron jumps from 3 to 2, that will be equal to 36 divided by 5 RH. Write the circuit symbol and truth table for NOR gate. The circuit symbol for NOR gate is like this. NOR gate is the combination of OR gate and a NOT gate. So the truth table for NOR gate will be like this. If A, B, you take A, B, then you take A plus B, that is A or B, and its negation, that is not A plus B. So 0 0 1 0 1 0 1 0 0 and 1 1 0. Explain what is wave particle duality. Particles have wave-like properties. From wave particle duality, we know particles have wave-like properties, and the wavelength of the wave, that means particle, which can be regarded as a wave, that is equal to lambda, that is equal to h by mv, where h is the Planck's constant and mv, that is the momentum. Explain Rutherford's alpha ray scattering experiment and mention its significance. So you have to explain the gold foil experiment, Rutherford's gold foil experiment, and its significance is, from that experiment we know that large number of alpha particles have small scattering angle. So from this we can conclude that atom have large number of empty space. Explain what is GPS or global positioning system. A navigation that is to determine specific destination. This is called your navigation. So a navigation that uses a network of satellites, they are called GPS or global positioning system. Define mass defect and binding energy of nucleus and write the relation between them. What is mass defect? The calculated mass minus the experimental mass. This is called your mass defect. And what is binding energy? The energy required to disassemble the nucleus into nucleons. This is the binding energy. And what is the relation between them? Energy is equal to the mass defect into c square. That is, the binding energy is equal to mass defect into c square. What is self-induction? Find an expression for the self-induction of a circular coil of n turns. So you have to define self-induction and expression for self-induction expression for a circular coil of n turns, that is the solenoid. So first you have to calculate the total flux linked with the solenoid. The total flux will be equal to n phi, and then for n number of turns, and that is equal to n L into B into I, A. Because the total flux, as you know, the formula, that is equal to B into A, the magnetic field into area, and if n is the number of turns per unit length, then total numbers will be equal to nl. So what will be B? We know the magnetic field B equal to mu 0 n into I, so this will be equal to mu 0 n square A into L into I. So here L, we have taken L is the length of the solenoid, and we know n phi b, this will be equal to L into I, because from self-induction we know the total flux will be equal to L into I, so n phi b will be equal to L into I, so L will be equal to mu 0 n square into A into L. Explain what is Brewster's law. Suppose this is the incident wave, and this is your refracted wave, and this is your reflected wave, and this is unpolarized light, and this is your polarized light. So this is the angle of incidence, and this will be the angle of reflection, and this will be the angle of reflection, and this will be the angle of refraction. Okay, and here I have taken IB is the angle of incidence for which the refracted wave and reflected wave are perpendicular. This is the reflected wave and this is the refracted wave, and if the two waves are perpendicular for this angle, suppose this angle is IB, so the angle for which the refracted wave and the reflected wave are perpendicular to each other, this is called your Brewster's law, and this angle is called IB is called your Brewster's angle, and the reflected ray here is totally polarized wave. This is totally polarized wave, and the relation between refractive index and the angle of incidence, that will be equal to mu is equal to tan IB. Describe the construction and characteristics of Zener diode and discuss the action as a voltage regulator. For the construction and characteristics you have 4 marks, and in the construction you have a PN junction and you have a silicon dioxide layer to prevent the contamination, and you have metal contact. So this is a construction of Zener diode, and the characteristic of Zener diode is when the Zener diode is forward bias, it acts as a normal diode, but when it is reverse bias, in reverse bias you have a breakdown voltage where the current increases sharply. And discuss the action as a voltage regulator. Why it acts as a voltage regulator? Because the voltage remains constant for a wide range of current. You have to give the origin, and you have to show it by means of a graph, for which you will be awarded 3 marks. Describe the characteristics of photoelectric effect, 3 marks, and establish a Einstein's photoelectric equation and how it explains the characteristics. This is 4 marks. So characteristics of photoelectric effect, that is the intensity. If you draw a graph between intensity and current, intensity will be proportional to the current. And another characteristics is current increases with accelerating positive potential. And this is, I have told you about this graph. This is accelerating positive potential and this is the current, and when you increase the accelerating positive potential, the current increases, and if you increase the accelerating negative potential, in this way the current becomes zero. At minus V0 the current becomes zero, which is called the stopping potential. So this is the characteristics of photoelectric effect, and the relation is the kinetic energy is equal to h nu minus phi naught. That is, the phi naught is the work function and h nu is the quantum of energy. So if quantum of energy exceeds the work function, then electron emits with kinetic energy half mv max square or k max. So you have to establish this equation, for which you will awarded 4 marks. And from this equation also you have to explain the 2 characteristics. State Kirchhoff's law for an electrical network. Use them with a neat circuit diagram to obtain the condition of balanced Wheaton series circuit. For Kirchhoff's law you will awarded 2 marks. For circuit diagram you will awarded 1 mark, and for balanced Wheaton series circuit you will be awarded 4 marks. An AC EMF equal to E naught sin omega t is applied to a circuit containing pure inductance L only. Obtain the expression for current in the circuit. Explain the phase relationship between E and I and show it graphically. So for the deduction you will be awarded 5 marks. That means you are given equal to E naught sin omega t, and you derive the equation for current, that is I equal to I naught sin omega t minus pi by 2. And for phase relationship we will be awarded 2 marks. In the phase relationship we will show that the peak of current will be less than the peak of the voltage, and the phase of the current phase will be minus pi by 2. Establish a relation between object distance, image distance and focal length of a concave mirror. For this will be awarded 5 marks. The relation is 1 by v plus 1 by u equal to 1 by f. And discuss how size and nature of image vary with the position of the image. So you will show the different positions, like when the object is at infinity, object in between infinite and center of curvature, object in between center of curvature and focal length, and in between focal length and the pole. So if for this you will be awarded 2 marks. So this is a brief discussion, and if you have any doubt, you write to me in the comment section. Thank you.